If 1,000 miles of overlanding in remote areas sounds like your idea of fun, this series, whether you're loving adventure, the great outdoors, or want to learn the details of how to plan an amazing trip of a lifetime like this for yourself, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss out on any of the fun. The Arizona Peace Trail has been a dream trip of mine, and I'm lucky enough to have amazing friends to pull it off. Come on for a ride with us. This episode, we lose someone in a remote section with zero cell phone signal, have a trail break that could have been catastrophic, make yet another detour to do a machine repair that leaves me semi-capable and still very heavy, all before hitting arguably the hardest section of the Arizona Peace Trail. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Stick around and enjoy. Whatever plan your group decides for pacing, stopping, and following, have a plan that everyone knows and stick to it. I'm going to give my pacing and following suggestions that I think make a lot of sense. At the end, do whatever keeps everyone safe, comfortable, and matches your group's riding preferences. Some people like running tight groups and keeping everyone within eyesight. Well, there are benefits if someone makes a wrong turn, stops, or worst case, goes off into a ravine. Hopefully it's immediately noticed. There is two major drawbacks of doing it like that. For one, there is no secret if you can't tell by the videos, Arizona is typically has a lot of dusty trail systems. It would also be miserable to ride and eat a cloud of dust the whole time. Two is a visibility safety factor. Even at a moderate pace, you need to see the trail. There are sections that 30 to 40 miles an hour is an easy pace on a gravel road. If you can't see because of a cloud of dust and come up on an unexpected washout too quickly, that could be a very bad day. I like to do what I call the slinky and leapfrog style of riding. That's where the leader, in this case me, runs a good pace. I'll slow up or stop at difficult trail points, unexpected things to come across, and points of interest that the group may want to explore. When I come up to an intersection or a turn, I stop and wait for the next person to catch up before continuing. This gives me a moment to check mapping, grab a drink, or whatever I need to do. When the second person catches up, they stop and wait for the next person to catch up before continuing. This keeps everyone from eating dust and allows them to run what pace is comfortable for them. Now, the leapfrog part allows people to do stops or adjustments as needed. If person B, in this case Jason, needs to use the bathroom or put his windshield down, he can stop and tell person C, in this case Dezrik, and Dezrik will leapfrog him. Of course, leave it to Dez to try the hard line. The next intersection, I'll see Dezrik, person C. They'll inform me Jason made a pit stop. I'll continue on to the next stop while Dezrik will wait for Jason to catch up and pass him back or leapfrog. Now the next spot I'm going to show a few quick snippets of in a moment is Martinez Lake, Fisher's Landing. This can be more than a fuel stop. They have a nice bar, restaurant. The food that we had was definitely worth the break time, and it was enjoyable to have a stop lakeside with the views. So I recommend it as a stop and a refresh spot, even if you don't need anything. And if you do need something, the store there will have you covered for most resupply needs. Now, doing the Arizona Peace Trail clockwise past Martinez Lake, there was a little spot I hit that somebody had been moving some dirt, and I can't tell if they were doing it as a drainage point or maybe trying to block the trail off. If you did come across this and there were chains or blocked, it would have been easy to run around the road in this section to jump back into the Arizona Peace Trail. Now, you can only stretch a slinky so far before it'll sling backwards, and that's the same case with slinky and leapfrog riding. You need to occasionally make stops where the whole group is at one stop and everyone sees everyone. When you come up to a stop or intersection, give it a reasonable amount of time. If you don't see or hear the next person, turn around and go back. As long as everyone follows this religiously, even if the last person breaks down or needs help, it should only be a few moments before someone is coming back to them, and a few more moments before the next person is coming back as well. It's a good idea for everyone to have their own tracking or mapping just in case. However, if you are unsure if you've made a wrong turn or got lost, stay on the known trail everyone was on, or go back to the last spot everyone was last seen together. If you lose someone, follow your plan for meetup. Search the immediate area and then call or go get help. Fairly recently, someone lost a group member. They searched and went into the next town for help. Turns out the guy and the machine went down into a ravine that couldn't be seen from the road. Luckily, a helicopter spotted it. From my understanding, the guy made a recovery, but it definitely serves as a reminder for instances like that can quickly turn into life or death scenarios. This is Red Cloud Mine, and in this section, this is the last time that all of us seen each other in the same location. Ideally, it would be awesome if everyone had satellite tracking devices that showed each other's location, but currently it's few devices that will at a reasonable cost. My suggestion is some type of offline communication like walkie-talkies or radio. This is when he should have stopped, and we would have been just a couple minutes away from Dez. Everything would have been good. We started booking out and made quite a bit of distance before I turned around to go and find Dez. All of that.
Looking for y'all!
We almost fell into a mine shaft and everything.
I had Jason stay in one spot to conserve fuel, or in case if Dez went out and connected back in the trail, they would meet up. So we immediately started booking it back, trying to make up for lost time. Not only did I manage to snap the tie rod and lose half my steering, it also snapped my brake line, so from here on I don't have any brakes until I can get a semi-fix. Dezrik had a walkie-talkie in the rear and I had one up front, and it came in clutch a few times, like letting me know when they was going to stop, or more importantly when he ran out of fuel, and was able to let me know via the walkie-talkie versus me turning around and wasting precious fuel.
He said we were almost on track.
We're almost on track.
The one thing I would do differently is make sure everyone had a walkie-talkie. When riding in low-line sections with rock formations in between, range quickly gets limited. Many times we would lose signal of each other, but if Jason would have had a walkie-talkie in the middle, he could have been the relay point back and forth. One quick clarification from the last video, just in case anybody got confused. Yuma does not have a river crossing. The time that we were there, it was very rare, but that section was actually flooded and impassable. Again, that's like a once in a 30-year thing. That is not normally something you would have to contend with doing this trail. Because of the broken brake line, we are going to Ehrenberg, Arizona. This is a potential fuel, sleep, or food stop, but for most, it's not a necessary detour. This is a spot very close to California, so be careful. I was looking for parts stores and stuff was coming up, but it was in California. You may be able to change how you identify in California, but your side-by-side cannot identify as street legal, so definitely stay out. Lucky for me, the gas station had just enough stuff for me and Dez to come up with a pretty clever fix that lasted for 500 some miles.
So hopefully that's the bad, yeah, we had bad three. A-arm bolt, tie rod, brake line.
This section is going back towards the good, bad, and ugly, which we are going to do and show some of that here. Now I'm going to answer a common question: what is a C.R.I.T permit and do I need it? I didn't include it in my must-have permits, and the short answer is no. C.R.I.T stands for Colorado River Indian Tribes, and I commonly out of habit pronounce it C.R.I.T. If at any point in this video or others I say C.R.I.T, I mean C.R.I.T. It consists of tribes Chim, Weve, Hal, Pi, Navajo, and Mojave. The reservation was established in 1865 and is almost 300,000 acres. C.R.I.T area is famous for its parker races, so if you've enjoyed watching the trophy trucks, unlimited, and UTV classes making these amazing and grueling runs, you may have already seen some of the terrain this area has to offer. The area has hundreds of miles of trails to explore.
KRX on 35 back there, but these ain't rocks. This is gravel.
You do not have to have a C.R.I.T permit to do the Arizona Peace Trail unless you bypass the good, bad, and ugly in a way that goes into tribal lands. I'll show some map snippets so you can get a grasp, but again, it is not needed for the Arizona Peace Trail itself. Now, if you're in a Jeep or Toyota, you can take Interstate 10 and bypass the whole thing quickly. I never had any intention of bypassing anything but the unpassable water levels this trip. Now, if you do bypass this area is where it seems to be a mix of opinions. If you need a C.R.I.T, there is a section that's been recently graded and is supposed to be an easy bypass currently. Some say it's not an issue to just ride through that section without a permit. My suggestion, if you decide to bypass, check mapping and get a C.R.I.T permit if you're going into tribal lands.
Somebody went to my husband's cat here. Still triple drive.
Now, our trip's water bypasses and issues took up a lot of time and miles. If we were making good time, I had hoped some of the spots I had picked up off of mapping, Fun Tracks books, and the C.R.I.T area would allow some time for exploring. This area definitely has some cool stuff to see in my research. Mines, slot canyons, and interesting terrain layouts definitely had me hoping for some time in the C.R.I.T area. I'll drop the address below to obtain permits along with their phone numbers if you have any questions. Current hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. In order to obtain a permit, it states the applicant must establish ownership of the ORV. Proof of ownership may be demonstrated by, but not limited to, a notarized affidavit stating ownership, a receipt or bill of sale with the original owner's name indicating the sale, title or registration, or proof of registration with another jurisdiction. I'll drop their website in case you want to look up any of their information they have listed. You can also potentially camp in the area, but you have to follow their rules and regulations. On top of proof of ownership, you need to have a driver's license, and the cost is $25 and is good for 1 year. How tough this trail is really varies on the driver and the machine. I was in my little struggle bus over here while Jason is actually planning on hitting little boulders.
Oh, look at Jimmy.
Another common question is, should I bypass the good, bad, and ugly, and what machine do I need? I'll try to show a few spots as best and honestly as I can, but of course videos never do it justice. Of course, driver, the group, and trail changes can make all the difference. My setup was very heavy and considerably more tippy, and with the broke brake line, I couldn't pull up on something steep and come to a complete stop without rolling back first. With a capable driver, I feel like most 700 to 1000cc UTV-ish machines can do this. 50-inch or more tippy models should be prepared to have help and a strap to avoid tipping. Most ATVs can. IRS and good four-wheel drive would be preferred. Be prepared to lean and have help for less capable models. This trail would have been fun to me in my Honda Rubicon. On two wheels, I would own a dirt bike or fairly light dual sport. I personally wouldn't advise a heavy bag adventure bike, though some of those guys still surprise me where they go. Dezrik did this on a bone stock 6-seater Pioneer with gear for camping. Now on the flip side, Jason with the KRX and 35s was hitting the dumber stuff he could find in this area just for his amusement, and I'll show him some more of that to come. This small section in here is what I would consider the harder part of the good, bad, and ugly. Again, the camera never does trails the full justice of difficulty. We ride trails considerably harder than this on a regular basis. Even when we stop, get out, and video, the video is typically mild to what it's like doing it in person. I feel like the inside view of my machine with our movements and watching the windshield line in relation to the terrain on Jason's machine is probably the best visual indicators through this section. Out of the Arizona Peace Trail, this is probably one of the more popular sections videoed. So if you'd like to see other machines do it, different angles, a quick YouTube search can probably put you at ease or help you make a decision whether you want to do this section.
Now this is the shit that me and Dezrik ride. Yeah.
Now in this section, Jason noticed a big section of rocks that looked like it had went out and was going to connect back into the trail, and that's where he decided to go off and do a little playtime of his own. So here I was up top on the actual trail. I walked down farther to see how much rougher it got and where it connected back into the good, bad, and ugly, when I realized it didn't, and if he gets hung up, there's no way we could get to him to help him recover.
How much longer can I play? We gotta go?
I found the Satan's nutsack. I think if I could have squeezed him just a little bit, I'd been all right.
Alright, let's ride.
I thought you said it come out. You lied to me.
Past that spot, really this is a little spot right here, but it's not much longer before you're back on the easygoing section for a road that's got some power lines going across it here. As soon as you see that, you're back in the easy cruising type section. I tried to show the more rocky and the rougher section of the good, bad, and ugly. Now there's plenty of other videos out there. If that was enough of a taste, you can get some more examples of that. Now if you did like the good, bad, and ugly, or the rougher section Jason went and played around with, there's plenty more of that in Arizona. We've done some of that rougher stuff in the past, but as far as like the good, bad, and ugly, or the Arizona Peace Trail itself, you don't really have to do anything that crazy. Now if you do like doing that crazier stuff, some of the stuff that cuts off the Arizona Peace Trail, there are some rougher sections there, so check some maps, fun tracks, stuff like that. In this section is the Indian corn grinding holes along with some petroglyphs. That's before you get to Quartzsite. That's a cool little stop that I do recommend. My final suggestion or tidbit for the good, bad, and ugly, or any rough sections if you're concerned about your machine being capable, is to join Arizona Peace Trail Facebook group or some type of active forums. Trails are subject to change over time, and this gives you a source of up-to-date information and a good gauge if similar machines to yours have done that trail and their experiences. Ultimately, your safety is in your hands. We set up camp a little early before Quartzsite and made that our next fuel stop. Next video is the last in the series, so make sure you drop all your questions in the comment, and like, share, and subscribe. Hope y'all have a good one.